Oh, but enough about me. How are you? No, it's good. We're going to get our next comedian up here. You ready for our next comedian? Our next comedian coming to the stage. Oh, the wonderful Josh Larsen, everybody. Let's keep it going, huh?
All right. The big graduation show. I don't have a personal graduation story. Like I graduated high school, but I figured that's just a given. The other stuff, not for me. My graduation story though is about my daughter. Last week she finished the 4th grade, and her mom wanted to make this big deal. She finished the 4th grade, she graduated, we got to throw a party. And the whole time during the party, like people got her gifts and stuff. She got cards with money. And I kept thinking, for the 4th grade, for her to graduate, really all that happened was I had to take her to school every day. So to be like that card from grandma, that should be for me. That should be some gas money or something, because she didn't make the effort. If she had a choice, she would have stayed at home. She would have played Roblox. That's what they do these days. But I put her in the car and I drove, so she didn't. I don't want to get her a gift. Like, what do you get a gift at the 4th grade too? Because, like, I can't. If I give her 50, I feel like $50 is too much. You know, because then what am I gonna do come the 6th grade? I gotta step it. You can't. I gave her $1. I was like, yeah, we're gonna each year we'll get more. Like, you know, we'll just keep getting in the car. I guess is all you have to do, and then I give you money. Through my parenting, I've made a lot of mistakes through the parenting. And that's one thing of summertime coming around, I kind of reflect on some of those mistakes that I've made. It was like when she was 3 months old, I locked myself out of the house. Or I locked her in the house. I don't know how I'm supposed to word that, but either way, she was inside, I was outside, we couldn't get to each other. At 3 months, she can't maneuver a knob to let me in, and I freaked out just a little bit. Especially the way it happened. Because like I was a single parent, and a lot of times as a single parent, when the kid is uncontrollable and crying a lot, what I like to do is I'd put her in a crib, and then I'd go step outside and cry just a little bit. That was my move. It worked every time. I cried it out, she cried it out, we came together, it was fantastic. But one of the times I was out there just crying, and then I heard like a click of the door behind me, and I panicked just because you don't take keys when you're crying. You know, that's not something you think about at that. And I had to figure out, it's one of those things, when all your neighbors see you crying outside, like it does draw their attention and now I'm crying and I'm banging on the door, I'm checking every window. It's suspect, but it's also like, I think he's going through something, we need to help. So now I have all the neighbors in my lawn and we're all trying to find an unlockable window to see if I can get. And you know how they have stories of like the moms that lift the car off their child when they're in danger. They have those. So I did a version of that, but I did the dad version because we found that teeny tiny window above the dryer was unlocked. And I fit my fat ass through that window, you know. I was like a cat, you know. The fat turned to fur and I just slid right on in. All of a sudden, I'm a hero. I saved the day, you know. I have made a lot of mistakes, though. The biggest mistake as a parent I made was I taught my daughter that as long as it's funny, it's okay. Right? As a comedian, that seems spot on, you know? Like that's some good advice right there. And then I slowly learned as a parent, that's terrible advice. You shouldn't do that. I got called to the principal's office one time. My daughter was picking on a kid. Principal tells me, can you believe it? Your daughter called him a foster kid. Then I had to look this principal and oh my gosh, is he a foster kid? She said no, and I went, But the problem was the kid was in the room and she saw, like that's all she needed to see was, and now she knows, that's a good one, Daddy likes it, I should do that. The other time, one time, she scared her mom. And not like a I'm pregnant kind of scared, but like a jump scare sort of scare. And her mom's had 3 kids, so she peed a little bit, and it was hilarious. I'm not gonna. It was so funny to me. It was not funny to her mother at all, but so funny to me. And at that time, my daughter learned that jump scares not funny to mom. Don't do that. Dad thinks it's hilarious. Jump scare the shit out of him. That's what. There's the thing. I hate the fact that my motivation to work out is so my 10-year-old doesn't kill me as I come out of the restroom. You know, like that? Like, it's great I'm working out. That's fantastic. But also, that's not the motivation you want. I wish it was so much more, but it's not. It's just, I hope she doesn't kill me one of these times. I'm gonna have a heart attack. It is weird. I don't know. Having the kid is hard because, like, I want her to have dreams. I want her to, reach for the stars, that sort of thing. But then sometimes with dreams comes hope. And I think hope is a killer. It is just a crusher. Because, like, if you dream that you're going to go to the moon one day, that's a fun dream that we all could have. Yeah, we're going to be in a rocket. But, like, if you hope you're going to go to the moon, you're Katy Perry at best. You know, like that. That's not what you want. My house, there's certain phrases and words that I don't let my daughter use in the house. You know, I can't do it. We don't say things like that. It's too hard. No. Upper class. She doesn't need to know what that is. Not at this point. She needs to know a good dream is a manager at a Holiday Inn. That's not bad. That could. I think the fun game as a parent is whenever my kid does something that kind of pisses me off, I just pick one of her dreams and then I just destroy it. Because I get a little win out of it, and then, she can explain that to a therapist 20 years later. But for now, she told me that one day she can't wait to grow up and have a white picket fence. Right? The dream of every little girl. And I'm absolutely gonna crush that one. Because here's the thing that people don't think about with a white picket fence is over time, your white picket fence fades. And then it's just that's a fence. That's all it is. And so you got to go out there and then you got to paint it and you got to make it look all fresh. But then there's always a shithead in the neighborhood that sees that freshly painted white fence, So they're going to throw dog turds on it. Of course they are. They're going to pelt that thing. And so now you got to go and replace 1 or 2 pickets out of this fence. But how you think Home Depot's going to have 2 weeks of sunlight white? That's not a white shade that they have, so now it's not going to match. And there's going to be 2 weird pickets that stand out in the rest of your white picket. And that's your dream. That's your dream right there, is these. One time she told me she couldn't wait to move out because she's tired of her roommates. That's frustrating. It's just me, She said she wanted to get a castle. A castle. That was something she wanted. That's an easy dream to crush. Because with any castle, you got to make sure that you have a good moat to go with your castle. If you're gonna do a castle right, you're gonna have a moat. So I had to ask my daughter, well, who's gonna dig the moat? Are you gonna dig the moat, or are you gonna pull a shift at the 7-Eleven and call a guy to dig the moat? I don't. Then let's say you get your moat. You have your moat and it's there. But you got to put something in that water. You can't just have sitting water. You can have mosquitoes and dysentery. So you have to take care of that. You don't want roommates. So it looks like that's on you. You got to put fish in it. If you're going to have a good moat, you're going to have some fish in it, And so you do a lot of research on the fish that should go into a moat. It's the Pacific Northwest. You're going to end up with koi fish. That's what it's inevitable. You're going to end up with koi. And you're going to pick out 5 or 6 koi fish. And here's the thing with koi fish. One of them's always an asshole. It's just the way it is. Every time you go, one koi fish is an asshole. And he's going to eat the other 5 kois that you buy. And so now your moat is just one big fish flip-flopping around. That's your dream. That's what you're dreaming of, isn't that? Write a story about that to your teacher. That'll be fantastic. Come on. Father's Day was recent. And I learned during Father's Day this year that I don't give my daughter a good enough allowance because she didn't get me shit for Father's Day. That was frustrating. I got to give you a couple more dollars. I don't want macaroni, or at least give me a tie or something. I'm from the olden days. I know how to tie it. It would be great. My daughter she's a trip. My daughter has Tourette's, okay? And that was such a weird thing to have a doctor have to tell me. Because what my daughter does, it's not the type of Tourette's that I'm used to, right? The type of Tourette's I'm used to, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think is relatively funny. It's just people yelling swear words all the time. My daughter didn't do that, so when the doctor's like, hey, your daughter has Tourette's, no, she don't talk like that. We have a swear jar to make sure of it. She don't do that. And then they had to explain to me that there's way more things to Tourette's. And so what happened was in this doctor's office, they give me and her mom a sheet, and you got to go through and mark off the different things that your child does. And it's things like blinking a lot, spasms of the arms, going through this. And as I'm going through this list, she's talking to my daughter. And at the bottom of the list, it says somersaults. Right? Eye ticks, I marked that one. Yep, daughter does that. Little grunts, yep, daughter does it. But somersaults, hold on a second. You're telling me there are kids that do somersaults out of fucking nowhere. I'd like to see that, to be honest with you. Like, I know that, I don't want to make fun, it's out of science. I want to learn. I didn't know kids would just blink uncontrollably. And then I met my daughter. I kept asking if she had schmutz in her eyes, if there was something. But she said no, and she just kept on. But what if she was doing fucking somersaults? Holy cow, I interrupted the doctor. I had to, ma'am, I don't know if you know this. It says somersaults on here. They shouldn't have that, because that's not a thing. And then it is a thing, but please save questions for the end. They talked a lot to us and explained kind of what was going on. And do you have any questions? And shot my hand up like a fucking third grader. Just, yep, I do. Anything not about somersaults, put my hand down. Absolutely. I don't have, all the other stuff makes sense. The somersaults is where I'm stuck on that, to be honest with you. Do you think they know, here's the thing. Do you think they know it's coming? Because my daughter doesn't know that her blinks are happening and that she's clearing her throat. So I don't think they know a somersault is about to come. Could you imagine trying to order a Big Mac and just somersaulting at a fucking... I'll take a number one, and then you pop up. But at that point, you've done it long enough. You're in public, you're ordering at McDonald's, so you're going to ignore it. And everybody else is looking, going, that kid just fucking somersaulted while ordering. We should put this on World Star. That's amazing. I can't... The other part is, if they do feel it coming, you know how crazy it would be to be in conversation with somebody? And, the same way someone clears their throat, they go, excuse me, and then just whoop, and then pop back up, and they just kept... I couldn't handle it. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. I'm Josh.